Morning.
Wow, geez.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
How are you? I'm doing good. I'm good.
Matt's gonna join remotely. Morning.
Morning.
How are you? Yeah, Matt has some vendors at the house, so he's gonna join remotely.
Yeah, fine.
Actually. Yeah, Rick's not gonna join.
Matt or John?
Matt,
Hey,
jump in remotely, he
Alex.
said.
Alex, can you hear me?
Yes. How are you, Charles?
Hey, good. Just a quick heads up. I'm just going to be able to join for the first 15 or so minutes. I have a
Yep,
11:30 work.
We'll focus.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So thank you.
Hey there.
Oh, no, I didn't recognize some glasses. No, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's the sweetheart.
Just wait for Matt to jump on and we'll get started.
He's
How's Brian, Wayne, and Deborah?
Too bad.
You guys doing good?
Doing well, Jake. How are you today?
Doing well, thank you. Mhm.
bad. Training was taking a training.
Yes. I was having trouble signing on to the meeting, so he's trying again.
Who is it?
Matt,
Matt?
Alex, have you seen Yellowstone, the show Yellowstone?
yeah.
Okay, and you might know where I'm going. I was in Raleigh and my wife's, you were across the street, you Vance, you were doing something over there. She took a picture. She says, ribs across the street. And I'm just like, that's Alex. She's like, yeah, but he looks like Rip from here. I'm just like, okay, whatever, dude, okay. It was just kind of funny. It's just, but yeah, it's, anyway, but I see they're unloading the mulch over by us today, so that's a step.
Yeah, it was in the plant material as well, so sooner than expected, he kept shifting it around, it's gonna go to January, then we came back to December, so progress is good,
Yeah, no, I mean,
we'll take it.
as long as there are plans, right? So it's just,
Improvement.
yeah. In the plans that you sent for the path in there to, I don't know, I say, there you go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
How many How many paths are we talking per building? Is it like 3, depending if there's a 6?
The concrete, the pavers, I would say one, just to keep it centered between the trees, because if we put more, there's a root impact or something.
Right, so, I mean, is it 6 units? I mean,
I mean, preliminarily, we're just looking between trees, and the trees are somewhat equidistant apart, so
Yeah.
that's something between the trees.
one, that's it, okay.
That's preliminary
One
plan.
between the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I mean, it just. I know you had to scale, you had to scale on there and everything, so.
Mhm.
If that gets approved as is, which can take some time, obviously. Do we have a time frame on that, getting it completed?
I mean, number one is the ARC approval, and then we'll look at numbers, I mean, in theory, in Q1. Good start, I mean, we'll look at a section between two trees and then rank them, go through the neighborhood and see what's a priority. We'll get a ballpark value for each, section, and then spread that out with our budget, see where we are. Hopefully, plan to upgrades, we shouldn't need too much more.
What type of pavers were we talking about?
We got three papers, I don't know if it was in, I sent you a picture, typical, like soldier course, around the perimeter,
Okay.
and then like a herringbone inside. It looks nice, we've done it in other areas. All right, let's get started, if, Matt joins us, we'll proceed with him. All right, welcome to the fourth quarter service area committee meeting, for Parkview. Today is, Tuesday, December 16th, it is now 11:28 a.m. I am Alex Georgiadis, Director of Service Areas. Next to me is Denise Rodriguez, a Service Area Administrator. Joining us online is Jacob Waddle, General Manager. Also online is Ray Fedras, the Finance Manager. And online, we also have Charles Richards, the Service Area Liaison from the board. Charles may have to exit a little bit early. We'll try to grab his attention earlier if you have any questions. And person from the committee, we have Wayne Benman. And as well, we have Brian Granica. Matt was planning on joining us, but has not yet, so we do not have a quorum. So we'll proceed as discussion purposes only this meeting. We'll do a recap of everything. And let's move forward. Let's see. We'll start with CDD and GoGov tickets. We only have one, was regarding a sprinkler at 1302, was it? And they reported some water coming from 1304, so we're actively investigating that. I know you had submitted some tickets, those are taken care of now.
I'm still watching to see if the
Okay.
sprinklers are running at all.
All right, let's monitor. I mean, that's something to report as well. If you're not seeing any action at all,
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And next item is code of conduct. Just a reminder, all committee members sign the code of conduct when they join the committee. Just a refresher, take a look at it when you have a chance. Reminder of code of conduct in meetings, in a particular room or out in the field. And part of that also is sort of preferential treatment, no special requests or anything like that. Again, just broad statements, reminder for everyone, just annual recap. Moving forward, finances. Operating account, we're in surplus, we're in good standing. The reserves are also tracking, although we do have a few projects coming up, and we'll discuss those in a little bit more detail. But high level, wanted to discuss landscaping specifically just for the coming year and the game plan moving forward. In operating, we have 8,700 allocated for landscaping out of contract, and reserves has 6,500 allocated for landscaping out of contract. So it's about 15,000 for the year. And our plan is to implement about 25% of that for the first half of the year. So 25% for the first 6 months, and then 75% the second 6 months. And the reason behind that is we'd like to keep a buffer for unexpected situations that may arise, storm cleanup, or anything else that we don't have on our radar per se. So once we get into the second half of the year, third quarter going into fourth quarter, we'll plan on implementing that. 25% works out to about 3,800 and 75% works out to just over 11,000. And again, broadly speaking, towards the holidays, we want to try to have everything updated and fresh for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So leading up to that, we'll plan how to allocate that money, assuming it's still remaining throughout the service area. Any questions on that? Landscaping implementation? We have some plants going in currently, and mulch will be following that. I believe today they started with mulch. We finally did some upgrades. I know it's been a long time coming. We were rearranging existing plants and planting new to try to save some money instead of just replacing everything. And it seems to be working out well, and we'll monitor everything. But I think as a first draft, it's a huge first step, and we've shown great progress. Any comments, questions on landscaping at all? Great. And moving forward. Future projects coming up. The one major one we have is balcony repair. That one in reserves, we had 86,000 allocated, which works out to about $3,000 per balcony. We got one first bid coming in today. It's only the first, it's preliminary, but they were quite a bit higher. They gave two options. The higher option was 12,000 per balcony. The second option was 9,000 per balcony.
What are they doing for the balcony?
It's railings and deck. It's just what type of system. The first one they call, I think it's a seamless steel, fully welded, Kynar coated aluminum, custom guardrail system, and Owens. It's a decking system. That's a more expensive one than 12,000 per balcony, 12,500 actually. And the alternative one at 9,000 per steel system, Titan Pro, and Owens Corning wearing it, the same decking on the floor. So let's see other bids come in, and then I could qualify them when they come in.
I will tell you that I had some visiting over Thanksgiving. There's a construction there from Michigan. They said the minimum we're going to get that they could do it for, if there was no upcharge on it, would be $4,500 a balcony.
So, yeah, let's see. I mean, again, we can also just keep in the back of our heads, maybe keeping the floorboards, confer with the engineer and see if there's an impact, if you do that work later on, if there's an impact to the railings. If there's no impact, it's one method of cost savings. At least implement the railings now.
What type of railings were they quoting there?
The first one, I'll forward this to you afterwards, fully welded, Kynar coated aluminum, custom guardrail system.
Okay.
So I think that might be just from a steel fabricator. And the second one was Titan Pro, pre-engineered steel and aluminum railing system.
Right, because most of those they could build and just install it, right? Once
Yeah.
they get all the dimensions, it's just, but it's the cost of
The
doing it.
fabrication,
Yeah.
and the material, yeah.
And my biggest thing in currently background is rental homes in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And our thing was cost. We knew the cost of the material going into it, then we could figure out what they were asking for labor.
Yep.
Because each one of those balconies could be broken down to, because they're all the same size. There could be broken down in the cost. I would know the cost of the flooring through Lowe's, wherever.
Yeah.
And then I knew how much labor was involved in it. You know, if we don't know what the cost of the material are, we might be getting a beaten up. So we individually need to know what the cost of the material is.
Agreed.
Okay.
The labor.
So then we know what the labor is, and then we know how bad we're gonna get beat up for labor, you know? That's how we did it back in Pennsylvania.
Makes sense.
You know?
Totally makes sense.
So that, if one of those are gonna be 4,500, that very well could be, you know? But are they charged, is there $1,000 worth of material there and there's $3,500 worth of labor? We need to know that, we need to know how long each one of them is gonna take, because the first one's gonna take the longest if I was doing it. Because, and then after that, each one gets easier.
Streamline.
Okay, so
Great.
that's my opinion.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
So we'll do some research on material, so we understand where we are. Right now, we're looking at a black box sort of thing, so we don't know what's inside.
Yeah.
When we had the engineer look at the railings and so forth, how many of them were deemed unsafe?
I mean, the recommendation was to replace the railings. I'll get details on clarification. You're saying on a one-by-one basis? I mean, generally speaking, across the board, there's recommendation. The railings was worse than the floorboards.
Yeah, I mean, the decking, like I said, my railing are fine. I have no issues with any of my railings, no rot, no nothing, right? I mean, I was just up there hanging Christmas lights and leaning on them and pushing them, and there's nothing that's rotting, there's nothing. My neighbors, she got rot, right, on one of the bases. I mean, we might have to consider just repairs.
That's an option. It's definitely an option. We'll look at that on a per balcony basis. The only thing is we would have to sort of allocate for future and keep
Well, yeah, but we might buy ourselves some time.
Yes, spreading out the paint over some time, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll look
You
at
have one flat tire, you don't replace them all.
Yep,
You have money for it, but the other tire,
Is it great?
you're like, why redo a balcony that doesn't need done?
yeah, I mean, is it great? Is it good on the way out?
So we just need a little bit more, I guess, investigation there to understand how bad those were that were bad and what's deemed safe, what isn't, right? And-
Yeah, maybe, yeah, how much flex, from a plumb line?
Yeah, and how much individual repairs would cost, if we needed to fix those. So we might need more. I don't know. It's just, I'm surprised at the 12,000 cost per, right? That surprises me a little bit because I can go to Lowe's, I could lay down the decking for $800 or less, right? I can do it myself.
Is the
That's
same.
where I, you know, is.
The railings are what changed. It looks like the decking is the same. They're both the Owens Corning wear deck.
Which is the quality decking.
Yeah.
And so it seems the railings makes a huge difference. And I would imagine labor is somewhat the same.
Are we replacing it with the same type of railing?
In the dimensions or material, what do we have now? It's aluminum again? It's just flex, is that the issue?
I mean, right now, it's a lot of wood.
It's engineered.
A lot of it's engineered wood, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where the rock comes from and all of that, and it's falling apart. So the Matt's on, so the
So-
quality.
Hey, Matt, how are you?
So it would be the same type of metal, so it has the same look? Is that why it's so expensive?
Actually, we're upgrading to metal. The pre-engineered wood we're staying away from, so we're going for metal is what we're going
What
for.
does that metal have the same look as the wood?
Roughly.
Roughly?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, there's a couple, I mean, one of the options that we threw out before was you could even do the iron to match your railings going into your house with your steps, right?
Yeah.
If you do that, because that would all tie in,
Yeah.
right? They can prefabricate all of these
Yeah.
off-site and just install.
Mhm.
But we talked about, other engineered or composite stuff as well, so. But 12,000 is definitely a lot of money.
There's 3,000 upgrade, imagine per balcony for the different system, only railings, because the decking's the same. So again, this is the first data point.
Yeah.
So let's see what else comes in. And as you said, we'll do our own research on materials alone and see where we are. We'll have a rough estimate on quantities at least, and then we can use that in forecasting sort of a scope just for material. Then we'll see, as you said, how bad the labor really is. In my
Alex?
Yep.
Could you
Peter?
just give me a recap of what you were just saying about railings? I'm sorry. I took me-
Yeah, we got our first bid that came in and our reserves give us an estimate of roughly 3,000 per balcony to spend. And the first estimate came in from Regal Paint. They gave us two options. The first option was 12,000 per balcony and the second one was 9,000 per balcony. Both using the same decking, Owens Corning wear deck, and the difference is the railing system. 12,000 and 9,000 versus our forecasted 3,000 per. Again, it's the first bid and great suggestion given was for us to look at the cost of material alone, just to see where we are in the scheme of things. How much is the labor and how much is the material?
Wow. And that's with metal railings?
Correct, correct. Two different types. The first type is fully welded, Kynar coated aluminum, custom. So it's a metal fabricator basically. So it's more money, more labor involved. And the second system is pre-engineered steel aluminum railing system, Titan Pro. That's something probably.
What about,
you said that
whatever
you
happened
expect.
to railings made out of Trek decking material that would look similar to what's on there, but at a much better grade?
That's what we're saying. I think that's what we have. I mean, if we want to expand that and just confirm the engineer, we can see, and there's different levels of that, of the composite. You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear
So
me
Matt,
now?
I had somebody in over the weekend who is, from Michigan, who is in construction.
Uh-huh.
And they said the cheapest that he could do it for me was $4,500. The cheapest material and labor. $4,500 a balcony would be their cheapest that they could possibly do it for us if there was no markup on anything. Right? So that was just cost right off the bat. So when you start looking at other materials that might be higher quality, well, it's Corning decking here, which is a good quality decking. You will get 20 to 30 years out of that minimal. And then whatever railing system that they have, and then markups for labor. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at 12,000, but you know, it's our first bid. It's gonna be more than we anticipated.
What else is new? What a
Right.
shock.
So I was asking questions about the engineer study that we had. How many are really bad balconies, and do we have an opportunity to get away with just repair right now and hold off on this while we can accumulate some more cash, more reserves? Don't know, but we need to find out. My railing is fine. That's all I can tell you. I don't have any issues with my deck or my railing.
Then that may be because you have more shades, so it hasn't been weather beaten by either rain or sunlight, maybe.
Yeah, it's possible. Like Laura next to me, where her balcony is rotting out, is more sun there and probably more exposed to weather. Versus, so that could be it, but her entire balcony may not be bad. All her railing system may not be bad. She might have one rail that's bad that needs to be repaired. That's it. And that's where I think, you know, we might need to do a little deeper dive into that instead of spending, I don't know, what are we talking here? 200 something, you know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now. I think we need more investigation.
I would agree because 9 or 12,000 is like a shocking. And is that that's everything decking and railing, or is that just railing?
Well,
Yeah.
What happens
That's
if one of the
both-
brackets also is rotted underneath? That's an overrun.
Part of it, I mean, that's,
That, you know, if there's decking rotted and those brackets were made out of wood, most likely we're gonna run into some rot.
unexpected.
And that's gonna be overruns.
yeah,
Potentially.
I think the decking part, I think we're lucky there. I think everything is composite and metal. I think it's the railings themselves. There's some engineered wood and there's wood in there. Because I did have termites digging in there and I got them out right away and took care of it. But the railings are gonna be our biggest problem. But we have to remember, everything's 20 years old
Yeah.
right now. So
Right.
it doesn't have a long life left
And-
because
and-
the quality of materials they put in wasn't great.
And the other thing that I was bothered by is someone else mentioned to me that, you know, well, they may fasten the decking material, the Trek decking material differently today than they did 20 years ago. But I saw rot by looking at, I was on one of the balconies that I have keys to that homeowner's house. And it looked like there was rust on the clips that hold the decking down. And that's probably because it was cheap metal clips as opposed to, you know, stainless steel clips or something powder coated, something that would stand the weather better, you know? So I was gee, maybe the Trek decking isn't necessarily bad. It's the
But
fast.
we need to get some more quotes in because right now we cannot afford what we got.
Right, no, I believe.
All right, so let's see what other quotes come in and we'll keep you posted and I'll forward this quote, so everyone can take a look at that.
And this is, so this is the only one quote we got, Alex?
One quote, Regal Paint, yep, with 2 options.
Wow.
Closing date for having all our bids is rapidly approaching the 19th. All right. Moving on, we have the paint project coming up for 26, 27, and a thought was made to consolidate that project into a single year project. We have in reserves approximately 230 or so allocated for that. I think a first step on that is maybe start getting some estimates on paint and just to see where we are with today's prices versus what our reserve estimates are. And see if we're over or under. If we're under, we're lucky. That could help us in other areas perhaps. But I think that's our first step before discussing anything else further, is to see what the real today's price is versus what our wallet allows us to do. And then decide accordingly moving forward. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm So you're saying if our prices, if we still have, if we're under, what I'm saying, if the price comes in under what we have in reserve for the painting, continue on with the two separate projects?
We could combine it if we have the funds available. I think our reserves currently, we're at 426.
But I was just thinking we would combine them and postpone it till next year, push it next year. That would be, I mean, my
Put
recommendation.
26 or put 27?
Into 27.
27.
Push 26 into 27.
Yeah. And that would allow us some buffer to do some work next year on other projects.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we
We
also
can
would
still
also
get some-
hopefully,
Yeah. We get some
But I'm saying,
pricing, Brian, just to test our reserves, you know. Maybe not a terrible idea of Alex's, right? You know, let's get a price quote now on painting just to see if our reserve engineer has a good number or not.
but what I'm concerned about is the raw materials for paint and that going up, which they are. Okay, and then what are we looking at? And if we, for me, I'm looking at, if the raw materials are going up and we take a look at it now and understand where we are, you know, we might have to make some adjustments in the budget going forward for the next year to make up for that difference, because they're going to be higher in 27, but at least it would give us a year to maybe do something.
And we know how far we have to go.
Right.
Right,
but-
I like that idea, because this way we'll get some information, it'll give us an indication about pricing. And if we need to increase the budget for that, we will.
And it also, the other thing that I had mentioned that, you know, that for me, I understand why they were put in, why we had two separate years, right? Because we essentially had an east and a west and build, and, you know, the townhomes were built in two separate times. So that's just kind of how it's stuck. It doesn't make any sense to me to stay with that. We talked about before, right? The economies of scale, like this is one project, you're quoting the whole thing. You guys don't have to do so much work year after year by re-quoting, getting the RFPs for everything, right? And you can do it as a single project. And I think,
Save the overhead, for sure. You have one project instead of two.
right.
Yep.
And for us, we've got one mess every 6 or 7 years instead of, you know, year to year, we would continually doing this 2 years in a row. Is that something that we need to, now that we've got a quorum, right? Is that something we need to propose?
I mean, it's something we could approach now. I mean, we'll do the legwork into looking at our budget and see where we are versus our reserve expectation. I don't know if we need to make a decision right now.
Okay.
But the thought, everyone's on board with the thought of just combining a 26, 27 paint project into a 27 project. I think we're all on board with that. And typically it's funding, which is the limiting factor there.
And in walking around the area, I mean, I don't think anything looks that bad right now.
We haven't had reports of paint damage, repair, stuff, or anything like that.
Right.
So it's a good sign. So all signs point to 27. Again, funding is the only limitation, and that we could look at ourselves.
And we have one more year of funding.
Correct. And again, part of it is, you know, the impact on the balconies and how we're gonna handle that project. We do partial project, but we still have to allocate future if we do a partial project now. So we have to look ahead a few years and see where each project will lay moving forward. Okay. Next item is similar, roofing project. That's not till 2036, but same concept of consolidating it into one project instead of making a phased project. Same rationale, minimize the overhead, minimize the impact, inconvenience to residents. And we're on board with that. Again, it's a budget issue. If we can do it, we're all on board.
I think that's a really important one. Last time we re-roofed, we got stung in the second half of not having enough funds. We ended up getting led to Phoenix because Phoenix was the only one that would, basically, they gave us one building free essentially if they got the job out of the 5 buildings that we had. And we had a lot of leaks during the construction. And I didn't hear about those same leaks with the first company that we used, and I don't remember the name of the company that we used the first time, the first 4 buildings, but those second 5 buildings, I don't think, Matt, you had any problems, but there were people that had a lot of issues along the way. And I would much rather have that being a single job because you know what it's gonna cost going into it. You got the full quotes. The first year we were okay. The second year is we ran into the massive inflationary issues as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was a bit of a
Right,
surprise.
and I don't want to do it, the roofing job in the middle of hurricane season, whatever year we do it. Where it's
Agreed.
pouring rain every day in the summer, and you have to, pray to the chief of the roofing company, say, do I want to worry about my guys working in the rain to close you in, drive you in, and get electrocuted from lightning, or letting you have it rain in your house, right? So I'd rather it not be done in the second half of the year when it's heavy duty rainy season.
We've got time to discuss that, but I believe that needs to be a single project. I still plan on being here when they doing it, so, but I think it's something that should be done as a single, and as Matt said, not during the middle of a hurricane season. We have videos of people who had water pouring through their canned lights in their living room and dining rooms.
In my old building that I lived on, Artisan West, I guess it's the building closest to me, where Rick Riccardi is the end unit. The people next to him had terrible raining issues because they didn't get dried in properly, and they had gigantic amounts of rain in their house. Because it was the day they were unluckily working on their roof. It had a downpour, lightning, so the guys jumped off the roof not to get electrocuted. I mean, that's
More
literally
water in the houses before we put during the roof construction, and so called a bad roof. It wasn't a bad roof. It should have been inspected and said, hey, you've got 2 more years to go. Instead of forcing us into a roof, which we didn't need, we just needed a good inspection. Because when the roofers were there, I just know enough to be dangerous. I said to him, I said, you're putting a new roof on the place, but you're not putting new flashing on. Well, we know that's not in our contract. Well, anybody that's a good roofer will re-flash. And I'm thinking there wasn't enough knowledgeable people to say, hey, well, our quote isn't good enough. It was a generic quote as far as I was concerned. Because I was out there with my binoculars watching the seams, and they wouldn't have worked for me. They just wouldn't have worked for me. That's why Matt said, I just have enough knowledge to be dangerous, So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I think we're in a better spot now. I think we've got more experience now. I mean, like I said, our first set of buildings was great. Our second set of buildings wasn't. So it's something that we'll talk about. And luckily, we've got a few years to prep for that. But but again, raw materials going up. And my concern is in our budget, we don't have enough. We're not setting enough money aside for that. But yeah, we're gonna run out of time here real quick. So we need to keep.
Moving on, next item was the exterior lighting replacement. We still have that one on our radar. One issue with that is we don't have a specific reserve item for that listed, so we can't pull out a reserve specifically for that. So this would be just sort of a special project. But then taking into account all of our other projects, this sort of falls lower on the list as far as work to execute.
right. Now that we hear the railing, until we get a better handle in my mind, Alex, on the railing.
We should pause. Agreed.
We have to pause on lighting because I was hoping this wouldn't be such a disaster, the railing project cost.
Let's see, it's our first data point, maybe we get lucky, but yeah, for now, it's gonna be put on the back burner, until we see funds freeing up. Next item, similar mailbox replacement and house numbering. The concept of doing everything together makes sense. It's just a matter, again, it's not currently a service area item or reserve specific. So looking for the funding for that is gonna be a challenge, and just falls lower on the list until we take care of first these balconies, and then painting, I would say, is number 2.
Yep.
Any input on that? We're on the same page?
Yeah, I agree for now.
Same page.
Pressure washing schedule 2026. This is really, in conjunction with other events going on. Any modifications right off the bat? What do you have in mind?
I like 3. I would like 3. We need at least one full And then maybe a couple others, you know, sidewalks and exterior and walks going up to the house. The areas where with all of the shade that we have, we do get the mold, we get the mildew. And I really feel like we need to stay compliant with requirements that, you know, we need 3 times a year sidewalks and front walks and, you know, the driveways and so forth. But the other areas that we do when they come into the private area and all that, I think we could get away with once.
Okay.
That's my take on it. But
Again, my number one concern is budgeting. It looks like we have, about 10 grand allocated for next year, spring and. So if we could somehow rope that into the, pressure washings, well, I think it's just a matter of sequencing. But let's,
March, April.
because the only concern, if you do it in the summertime, with all the rains and all, it's just a matter of, you're gonna get hit with the green pretty quickly. With heat and the humidity.
so you do March, April, and then you did September, October?
Yeah, typical.
You're trying to stay away from the holidays, but then it's really hard.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
45 days in advance before the
Yeah.
day of the decorating, so.
I mean, rainy season doesn't start till June, right? So, I mean, if we, maybe we push the one in March back a little bit further, possibly.
So
But
they're proposing 2 flats and then the full later in the year? To do like a February and then like a June almost?
yeah, I mean, it's. And when I'm talking, you know, at least maybe we just do the fronts, right? If we can get away, if we can divvy it up somehow, maybe we do the fronts and then front and back and then do a full.
Okay.
I know this last time they didn't do around the windows, they sprayed the windows,
Yeah,
but, you know, they didn't, you know, it's,
that's a challenge because
Yeah.
of screens. I mean, I can't tell you how many reports of, you know, damage and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So they shy away from that.
I thought the guys did a great job. Like I said, getting up on the balconies, do spraying up there where before some people just, you know, spray from below and you can see it's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
They got up there in the balconies, they sprayed, they did a good job. They got up on our roof and back and they sprayed, you know, up and everything,
Yeah.
and they were very careful. So I thought they did a very much more thorough job that way. Portugal Partners also had done a good job in the past. There was a group in there in between that was horrible. I don't remember who they were. But these guys I thought were very thorough, and I appreciated that effort. And I also appreciated you being out there with them when I saw you out there with them, and that was nice.
It helps. And then when I get feedback, if someone calls me in the morning, hey, then we jump out there and we address it.
Yeah.
Again, I reinforce to everyone, anytime you see anything, even now, like landscaping, something, shoot me a picture, an email, a phone call, so we can address it immediately. Otherwise, if we wait, it's harder to address after the fact.
Yeah, you have no idea how much that is appreciated.
But
Really?
it's a team effort. I mean, I keep saying it, you're my eyes and ears in the field, and when I hear something, I can attack it. Otherwise, it's just a matter of when I have time to get around, if I see it on that day. Otherwise, when I hear from residents, that's ideal. All right, so we'll look at sequencing on that and pricing and see if we could make something like that happen. Roof maintenance plan. In the interest of just saving money, I mean, my first thought would be instead of spending money proactively trying to maintain a roof, wait till we start experiencing some problems and then maybe jump into that instead of doing it preemptive. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I said to Matt before when the last roof was put on, I said it's a 30-year roof and we're replacing it in 15. And that's a manufacturer issue, not our issue, you know. And we didn't have any leaks, so I think we were jumping the gun. And that's where at 15 years, if we have a 30-year roof, we have somebody that's experienced and knowledgeable to go up on that roof and say, you're good for a while longer, or you're not. You know, and that's where our knowledge comes in at, because we put a roof on when we need to. We have another home in Celebration that has a 20-year roof, has a 30-year shingle, and the whole street is replaced. I had somebody that went up on it and said, I wouldn't even consider it for 5 years. Because the day you put it on is the day we have to start saving funds for the next one. And it's the day it starts aging. all over again. So you just have to be careful with an item that ages.
We had people that couldn't get insurance
Yes.
because our roof was 15 years old.
That's where the 30-year roof comes in. And I told an insurance company that insured my daughters. They said, well, we won't insure it. It's not a new roof. I said, well, you go to the manufacturer and insure it. I fired him because the roof company said it was a 30-year roof, not a 15.
Our GAF shingles that were put on our roofs are 25, 30-year roofs.
Yes, yes. So anyway, that's an issue that you.
But that's a big issue. I mean, how do we combat the insurance? 10 years, 15 years, they come back and they give us this issue. That's sort of a pickle we were in.
And that's when you have enough money in your reserve account to say, I'm going to self-insure my own roof.
That's an option.
Huh?
That's an option.
We own our roofs individually.
Yes.
I mean, so if I can't get insurance on my roof, then I'm technically because I still have a mortgage on my house, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm in essentially default with my mortgage company, with the association here and so forth. So now,
But you don't own your own roof personally.
Yeah, I do.
The association is paying, we're paying for that over, it doesn't come out of your,
the maintenance and repair, but I own my roof. I insure my roof.
see, I don't.
In a townhome, in one of our Parkview townhomes, you own your roof
Yes.
and you insure your roof. Just the maintenance and repair of it comes from our association and that's it. So, yes.
I was actually talking to a roofer for a different service area, and we talked about that, these warranties, and he said precisely that. I mean, I could give you 25, 30-year roof, but you may as well go for a little bit cheaper if you're gonna have to buy a new roof again because of insurance purposes. I mean, that you're seeing all day, and that's the problem. Limitation is the insurance. Again, if there's a smaller difference in the longer life roof, why not? But the insurance is a huge factor with roofing these days.
Yeah, I have State Farm and I only pay $2,000 a year, which is great.
Yeah.
But I had that same conversation with somebody in the State Farm. The person I talked to lives over in the condos over there, and she said very clearly, she says, you're insuring your roof for damage. If a tree falls on it, a hurricane, it is your homeowners association that's going to pay for that. If it's a small repair, yes, a small leak or something like that the association will cover that and you will cover the replacement of it. But outside of that, lightning strike or whatever comes out of my homeowner association. So if I can't insure it, yeah. And that's where we had people, the last time we were doing this, that could not get insurance because it had been so long and they were being canceled because of that. Which,
A lot of people were being canceled at that point. Though.
yes,
That, they have good reason,
I'm all for,
Yeah.
I'm all for a special assessment
Yeah.
and putting on metal or a composite roof that will last
Oh,
us
yeah.
65 years. I'm all for that because I don't plan on moving,
Right.
okay? But that's me, so I'm,
The insurance won't insure you unless you have a 10-year-old roof or 15-year-old roof. What do we do?
exactly. So, but the roof maintenance is the only thing is I had gotten up prior to the previous hurricanes that we had on the roof to make sure that there was nothing that was leaking. Everything was sealed up, the tar areas and so forth, there was no cracking.
Yeah.
Right, so I fixed that all myself because I don't want to leak, it's easy to do. And that's really where the roof maintenance and so forth was coming from, is over time, when we have these storms, it does not rain straight down, it rains sideways.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the areas that I was really focusing on, is the flashing areas up against the house, the areas that water's going to accumulate when the winds are blowing 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, things like that. That I took care of in my own home just to make sure there were no issues. I mean, but that was me. I know how to do that and I can do that.
I mean, if you want, we can investigate, speaking with the roofer, so go up there and take a look, evaluate, and see if anything like that, on the minor side, but across the entire service area, it's still gonna be a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
These guys charge $800 a visit for one house,
Yes.
so it's not gonna be, I don't think, another $10,000, I would imagine.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I have to jump off, but thank you all for your time and let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Jacob.